Hello, this is Bill Strand, and today we're going to put together an outdoor baby cage. Now, if you remember, I had some Jackson's Chameleons born a couple of days ago, and I wanted to set up a cage for them. Now, I chose this cage. This is one of those cages that come with the Chameleon kit that we tell you not to buy. Well, because of that, a lot of us have these laying around, and so may as well put them to good use. Now, usually I use a much larger cage, like the 24 by 24 by 48. But since I want to be able to follow the progress of these little tykes and share with you on YouTube, I'm going to be using a cage that's a little smaller and easier to find the guys. And that'll be fine. This is a temporary situation, 3 to 4 months maximum. And these cages aren't really good, designed to do much more than that. They're going to start to rust out here, but for the next 4 months, it's going to do fine. So let's go ahead and start. First of all, what I'm going to do is put in a number of natural plants. I'm actually going to bring in this plant and put it in here. So there's a lot of areas in there that a baby could get away from the sun, and that's the most important thing when we're talking about this outdoor cage, is to give them the ability to get out of the sun. The sun is incredible for them, but it can be too much. So this gives them enough hiding places. Now, for a little baby, this is good. If it were a larger baby, then we'd need more places for it to hide. And over the next couple months, as the baby grows, so these vines will grow too. And so it's kind of a nice environment that grows together. Now, the other thing that is very important is you want to be careful about the floor. If you have a plastic floor like I have here, then it's going to reflect the sun. Even a black one like this, it's going to reflect the heat up. And so you're going to have a lot of heat at the bottom, a lot of heat at the top. Your poor little chameleon doesn't get the gradients. Very important word, gradient. That means the progression from a high value to a low value. And this is what gives chameleons the choice to thermoregulate. Very important. So what are we going to do? What will cut down on that reflection? A soil floor. The key to every outdoor cage, having a soil floor. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do here. And now I know what you're saying. Wait a minute, you can't put soil in a screen cage? Well, some men just like to watch the world burn. So, there we go. That was very simple. There's your cage, and this will work. Now, because it's just new, and there isn't a lot of leaf cover, either you've got to put a larger plant in, so it's got more leaf cover, or else you've got to just make sure that your placement of this cage is strategic. And I'm going to go to the strategic route because since I'm using such a small cage, it's really tough to allow the chameleon to thermoregulate if he's got sun throughout the entire day. And so what I'm going to do is place this cage in a place where it gets morning sun, but then it's going to get shade anytime after, say, 10 a.m. And that way the chameleon can bask and get direct sunlight when they're normally basking. And then after they warm up in the wild, they go back inside the foliage and they get protected. They stay out of the sun for the rest of the day. And so by placing this to where it only gets morning sun, I can allow them to replicate that, and they're not going to get zarked by the afternoon sun, which would be too much. Now, you know, it's just kind of missing something. What could that be? Ha! We need a little ground cover. I'm thinking that looks better. Now the reason I can do this is because it's going to be outdoors, and so have a little bit more leeway in what I can do. So I am thinking this looks pretty good. Let's see how it works. All right, it is time to introduce this little tyke to the cage. And that's it. And it is that simple when you're keeping chameleons outdoors. All you got to do is make sure that they don't get too much sun. They can always have a way to get out of the sun. Add food, add water, and it's as easy as that. So let's review the important parts of this cage. First of all, screen cage. As big as possible. I'm doing this smaller because I want to do it for filming, but normally I would do it a much bigger cage and much more densely planted. 2 is densely planted. We want to be able to give our chameleons escape from the sun. This cage wasn't as densely planted as I usually do it, but it's good enough for the babies that are going to be in there, and it's going to grow as the babies grow. So this one will be no problem. 3, you need a soil floor. That's going to keep the sunlight from bouncing off the floor, and it provides a bit of a heat sink, shall we say, a place of greater humidity, and provides a bit of a gradient to the chameleons. And 4, this one's the optional one. This is the mashed up bananas, and this is to attract the fruit flies. I do this because the natural fruit flies around here are the perfect size for the Machacos Hills Jackson's chameleon babies, which are a little bit smaller than Xantholophus. And then finally, I'm putting it underneath a tree. So it's going to get morning sun only, afternoon sun, which gets pretty intense. That's shaded behind the tree, and so my chameleons are going to be able to enjoy the natural sunlight, natural UVB, natural breezes, and they'll be protected when it gets too much. So here's a fun chameleon project that you can do if you find yourself with Jackson's chameleon babies and you're in an area where you can have them outdoors. If you have any questions about how to do this or what I'm doing, go ahead and ask in the comment section below and we'll talk about it. See you next time.